Good evening. Now we speak about building lasting unions or relationships, if you like, with just under 48 hours to Valentine's Day, a day that is pegged to celebrate love. But given the grim statistics, according to KNBS, is that 1 out of every 18 households in the country is headed by a person who's been divorced or is separated. That is a 16.5% rate, and it has been growing. So how do we address this? Taking us through this conversation is none other than Christian Matthew, who is a marriage and family therapist as well as an author. Thank you very much for
Thank you, Reggie.
The statistics are as grim as it is.
Yeah.
So what do you think is actually fueling this, increase in the rate of divorce, separation, and single parent-headed families?
Well, thank you, Reggie. Foundations. People do not have understanding of what they are going into, and sometimes people are not very honest with themselves. They could not differentiate between what they want and what they need. But more worrisome statistic is that of elderly people divorcing, 65 and above, getting divorced. They have children, grandchildren, some even have great-grandchildren. So it's boils to the fact that they have not deeply thought about what they are into. Maybe they thought marriage is just fine there, and anytime there are some challenges, they're not ready to forgive, and the other person is not ready to respect. And just like the Bible has said, love and submission.
Love and submission.
Yes.
Before we tackle love and submission, let's highlight what you have said. We need to appreciate and also understand what it is that you want.
Yeah.
And what you need.
Yes.
How do we separate the two?
Well, oftentimes an average person does not really study himself. Everybody should be able to look inward and to think outside of the box. If anybody thinks extempore, now I need money and that person can provide money, is marriage about money alone? Oh, I need some comfort in this area, I want to pay school fees, and that person provides? Is marriage all about school fees? So it is, we have to consider the holistic aspect of it and what they really need. Unfortunately, Reggie, people hardly understand exactly what they need in marriage. They just tell you, the Bible says that we should get married or I'm getting old, or the society says this, or because of children. The question is, what exactly do you need in marriage? Can this person provide it? That is what I meant by want and need. If you need something better, you need some peace, you need tranquility, you need somebody that will respect you, you need somebody that will see you that will value you. Because you see, everybody's goal is built upon by his values. If I have these values, okay, what are my values? Then what are my goals? Majority go into marriage without considering their values. And once they get there, they compare notes and they want to bolt out. That's why you see a lot of divorce, and it's very prominent.
Mm-hmm. We do not, the question is, people while dating, let's go back to the dating scene before we even get through courtship and now marriage. Okay. Looking at the statistics here, a majority of people want to try it out, what we are talking, or rather what we are terming colloquially as friends with benefits or situationships and such. We have tried to come up with all manner of descriptions to just testing the waters, dipping the toe and checking if the water is too hot, too cold, too dark. We are still experimenting. But during this experimentation, Christian, no one is actually speaking the truth. No one is talking about their expectations. How then do we use, or rather, how then do you counsel those who may be watching how to properly communicate on what exactly they need from their partners or potential partners to avert this situation we find ourselves in?
Thank you, Reggie. The truth is, marriage is deeper than we have assumed. And I think life is changing. Where I come from, once you are married, it does not matter whether who you are married to is a monster. You have to stay in that relationship, possibly until you are buried, because some people say, come. But sometimes you don't consider the aspect of a particular lady Jesus met by the well and asked her, go and call me your husband. And the lady said, I have no husband. And Jesus said, you are very, very okay. You are very truthful. Because you have had some 5 men in your life, and the current one you are staying with is really not your husband. And here we're going to kill, we're going to massacre that lady and whatever. If that lady was testing water and just discovered that, hey, this person is not good enough for me, this person will kill me, I'm not going to have some peace and tranquility with this person, and that person get out and like Jesus met her, the whole world will say, hey, you see, she had dated 50 people. No! Is it not? But the Bible says a wise man sees danger ahead. He avoids it. The foolish one will just say there is no danger. And at the end of the day, he will enter into it and is going to, you see, easy entry, easy exit. Now, testing water, yeah.
So are you advocating from a therapist's point of view, are you advocating for us to continue testing the waters? Actually, in Kiswahili, people are saying, soko ni chafu. Are you advocating for this? Or is there a better way to actually test the waters without losing the essence, our our values? Is there a better way we can test the waters?
Okay, thank you. That is if we actually have values.
Oh.
Yes, sometimes we don't really know who we are and what we want or what we need. Sometimes we don't have, you see, it's like we are applying somebody else's solution to a specific problem. If an individual studies himself or herself very well and what would be good for him or her, then he can go ahead. What are my values? What do I need there? Now, in the past, when a man will want to ask a lady out, he will have studied her, he will have had some questions from other people, he will have spoken to his parents, and there are people that want to do some investigation. We no longer do it. We go on social media, somebody will have to tell a lie to another person, and we go in there, and we rush into that. Now, testing water, I said the other time, easy entry, easy exit. If we are patient enough, although the society will frown at it again. I mean, if I were a lady and I'm in my 50s and I'm not gotten married, they start prognosis and start worrying that this person will say, okay, now I'm 50. What will people say? Will people live with you in your marriage? No. So the Bible says, prove all things and hold fast to the truth. So before we enter into the air, let us find out whatever means we can find out, and if we are not getting our answers, please, silence sometimes is a good answer. Just stay with your conviction. Don't rush out. Some people have rushed out and they are dead by now. That's about testing water.
So we do a thorough investigation. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Get to know the person you're actually wanting to align with. Find out all that you can. Verify. Get proof before you actually say yes.
You're very correct, Reggie. My worries, you see, the Bible says somewhere in the book of Proverbs chapter 20, many a man profess to be good, but a faithful man who can find? Everybody will put some good money in his breast pocket and try to be good, and who can find that person? Somewhere in the book of John chapter 2, verse 24-25, Jesus said, the Bible says, Jesus knew men. Did not rely on them, did not even want anybody to tell him about men, because he knew what he has made in man. An average person can be very tricky. So when you are dealing with a person, know that this is a tricky person, and I want to do all my assignment, and I want to find out. See, oftentimes we go into relationship, we don't ask questions. Ask that person, are you going to make me have this peace? Are you going to, these are my values. Are you that person that will make my goal to be fulfilled and all that? Then we go out there and we don't want to forget asking God about that person, because He declares the end from the beginning. he knows that person who is pretending, who will turn out to be somebody very dangerous in near future.
So we ask the right questions.
Yes.
But now, other than us, let's now address the people who find themselves in these relationships. As you've said, there's growing concern that the elderly, people who've been married 20, 30 years, are ending up separating and getting divorced. And some of them even are getting into, domestic squabbles that end in death and maiming. What is changing within the family unit? Is it that the value of a family unit is eroding? Or why is it suddenly very easy for a 70-year-old man and woman who've been married for 30 years to call it quits? Children and grandchildren, regardless.
Well, I did the research some 10 years ago in Kenya here, Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and this Dakar, what's now the Senegal. And I discovered that majority of people in relationship are there because of parenting.
Children.
Yes. So that I don't want my children to be affected. And some are there because of their position in the church. Some are there because of what the society will say. So, oftentimes people do not forgive. And I'm a psychologist. Sometimes when some people argue in counseling room, I want to conceptualize mental health issue. What we eat, what we drink, what we put on our skin and all that has affected a lot of things. So it might be some slight mental health and what some leaders are doing. If you see your bishop divorcing or having a side chick, and you are just a member and your wife is misbehaving, what prevents you from going ahead and copy that person?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
we're also lacking role models in institutions that should be making the right way for us to emulate.
You are correct.
Now, in the next 48 hours, we're going to be marking the Valentines, and there's a lot of, actually my colleague just said we're going to paint the town red. What are your values, what are your thoughts about PDAs, public displays of affection, that are actually recorded during this time as we work towards getting to a close of this conversation?
Well, it is not love we experiment, it is infatuation. You see?
Infatuation.
Yes.
Okay.
Love has some bonding, some respect and all that. But just like sex and making love, if you just go around and display this and we know that we do not have the foundation of love. Paul was talking in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 that love, even if I kill myself, he was saying if I kill myself and I don't have love, it means that killing oneself, buying a house for somebody, displaying this, is not even love, but it's patient. How many people we see less than 48 hours are patient with their partners? How many one is kind? I mean, real kindness. How many people who do not complain about the partner? I'm a counselor, have seen the law. This person will say, this other person will say, and the lady will say, he loves me so much. And when you are in solo counseling with the man, you say, I'm just doing that because I want to get rid of her. Then what is love? And you go to social media, you open doors for each other, you open the door, and you pretend.
The chocolates, the wine,
yes,
the flashy dinner.
Yes. Oh, I call it trophy marriage. We don't display trophy and deceive people. And if somebody is bold enough, I mean, among real big people, even preachers and all that, if they are bold enough to say, what I am having in this relationship is not what is expected of me, then learn. Possibly people will be sit tight and do something. So Valentine is coming, yes, but what you see at that time
will not be, a majority of it will not be true love.
It's infatuation, or I want to display things so that people might see and people might make believe.
For sure.
Make believe.
Well, we have been speaking to Christian Matthews. As short as it has been short and sweet. Some take home is, if you're thinking about getting into a relationship, it has to start on a strong foundation. Ask the right questions. It doesn't have to be cautious. Also look inwards. What are your values? What do you want? What can the other person offer? And are you in a place that allows you to speak about your challenges as well as your dreams in equal measure without worry of being victimized or judged? Well, true relationships, indeed, from our speaker this evening, is that we need to ask the right questions and start off relationships with a great foundation. When it comes to matters of Valentine, we can say, well, as I say, it's none other than PDAs. Our guest has been none other than Christian Matthews. He's a marriage and family therapist. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant week ahead.